70 men died instantly just from looking inside it. An entire army trembled at the mention of its name. Kingdoms rose and fell trying to possess it. This object was real, and it vanished without a trace. We're talking about the Ark of the Covenant, the most mysterious artifact in human history. Today, you're going to discover what really happened to it, and why governments, archaeologists, and researchers still can't stop searching for it. This is bigger than Indiana Jones. This is real history. In the next 15 minutes, you'll learn the complete story of this mind-blowing object, from its construction in the Sinai desert to its mysterious disappearance in Jerusalem. We'll explore the documented powers it demonstrated, the verified historical events, and the modern evidence that might finally reveal where it is. If you want to uncover one of archaeology's greatest mysteries, subscribe right now, because this journey will blow your mind from start to finish. Ready? Let's start at the beginning. Year 1440 before Christ. Sinai desert. Moses descends from Mount Horeb carrying the Ten Commandments tablets. But God gives him a specific and detailed order: build a sacred chest. Not just any chest. The place where the divine presence itself would dwell among humans. The instructions were extremely precise. Acacia wood covered with pure gold inside and out. 7 feet 5 inches long, 2 feet 3 inches wide and high. On top, a solid gold cover called the mercy seat, and above it, 2 golden cherubim with outstretched wings, touching each other. But the most important detail was inside: the tablets of the law, preserved manna from the desert, and Aaron's rod that supernaturally blossomed. Historian Flavius Josephus recorded that construction took months. Bezalel, the chosen craftsman, supervised every detail with absolute precision, because any mistake could be fatal. And soon, the people of Israel would discover why. The Ark wasn't just a religious symbol, it was something far more disturbing. The book of Numbers, chapter 10, records that when the Ark moved, Moses declared that God's enemies would be scattered. And when it stopped, the divine presence rested upon Israel. But the first truly shocking event happened at the Jordan River, year 1406 before Christ. The people of Israel needed to cross the river during flood season. Violent waters, impossible currents to overcome. The priests carrying the ark entered the water first, and something extraordinary happened. The book of Joshua, chapter 3, describes how the waters rose like a solid wall miles upstream. The riverbed became completely dry, and all the people crossed safely. But that was just the beginning. 6 days later, the ark circled the walls of Jericho. On the 7th day, after the 7th lap, the walls collapsed instantly. Archaeologists like Kathleen Kenyon found layers of massive destruction in Jericho dated exactly to this period. Walls that fell outward instead of inward, exactly as the Bible describes. But the most terrifying event was yet to come, and it would prove that nobody, absolutely nobody, could treat the ark with disrespect. First documented deaths. Nadab and Abihu, 2 priests who offered unauthorized fire before the ark. The book of Leviticus, chapter 10, records that fire came out from the Lord's presence and consumed them instantly. Second death. Uzzah, year 1030 before Christ. The ark was being transported on a cart. The oxen stumbled. Uzzah reached out to steady it, protect it from falling. Noble gesture, right? Wrong. 2 Samuel chapter 6 describes how God's anger burned against him. Uzzah died right there, on the spot, because there was an absolute rule: nobody could touch the ark, not even to protect it. But the most devastating event happened when the ark was captured by the Philistines. Year 1086 before Christ. Battle of Ebenezer. Israel was defeated. The Philistines took the ark as a war trophy to the city of Ashdod. Big mistake. First night, the statue of the god Dagon fell face down before the ark. The priests stood it back up. Second night, the statue fell again. but this time it was shattered, head and hands torn off. And then a devastating plague began. Painful tumors, mysterious diseases, mass death. The Philistines moved the ark to Gath. The plague followed. They moved it to Ekron. The plague followed. 7 months of terror, until they returned the ark to Israel, along with offerings of solid gold. But even among the Israelites, 70 men from Beth Shemesh died for looking inside the ark out of curiosity. The power was real, and it was absolutely terrifying. Year 959 before Christ. King Solomon builds the first temple in Jerusalem, and for the first time in history, the ark receives a permanent home, the Holy of Holies, the most sacred place on earth, a special chamber lined with 23 tons of pure gold. The ark was placed beneath giant olive wood cherubim, and a rule was established forever. Only the high priest could enter there, and only once a year, on the Day of Atonement. But something extraordinary happened in that place. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, describes how when the ark was placed in the temple, a cloud filled the entire building, so dense that the priests couldn't minister. The glory of God had taken possession of the place. For 373 years, the ark remained there, protected, untouchable, the spiritual heart of Israel. And if this story has already blown your mind, hit that like button and comment what you think. Because now comes the most mysterious part, the disappearance. Until one day, it simply vanished, and nobody knows exactly how or when. Year 586 before Christ. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon invades Jerusalem, completely destroys Solomon's temple, takes all the gold, all the silver, all the sacred treasures. The book of 2 Kings, chapter 25, lists in detail everything that was plundered: bronze pillars, sacred utensils, palace treasures. But there's a disturbing problem. The ark isn't on the list. Not a single mention, not a word, as if it never existed. And when the second temple was rebuilt 70 years later, the Holy of Holies was empty. The Babylonian Talmud confirms the ark wasn't there. 5 sacred objects disappeared from the second temple, and the ark was the most important. So what happened? Theory 1. The prophet Jeremiah hid the ark. The apocryphal book of 2 Maccabees chapter 2 suggests that Jeremiah took the ark to a cave on Mount Nebo, sealed the entrance, and declared it would remain hidden until God gathered his people again. Archaeological expeditions have searched Mount Nebo. Nothing was found. Theory 2. It was taken to Ethiopia. Ethiopian tradition claims that Menelik, son of King Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba, took the ark to Axum, where it's supposedly guarded today in the Church of St. Mary of Zion. A solitary guardian protects the location. Nobody can see the ark, can't photograph it, can't confirm if it's there. Theory 3. It's hidden in secret tunnels beneath the Temple Mount. Rabbinic records speak of underground chambers built by King Josiah to protect the ark from future invasions. But excavations on the Temple Mount are impossible. The site is sacred to Jews and Muslims. Any excavation would cause international conflict, but there are modern clues that could change everything. Discovery 1. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Copper Scroll, found in 1952, lists 64 locations where temple treasures were hidden. Some researchers believe the Ark is among them, but the language is coded, the locations are vague, and most have been excavated without success. Discovery 2. Hezekiah's Tunnel. Archaeologists found complex tunnel systems beneath Jerusalem. Some date exactly to the period before the Babylonian invasion, perfect for hiding something extremely valuable. But these tunnels are labyrinthine, and many remain unexplored. Discovery 3. Ground-penetrating radar technology. In 2018, researchers used this technology on the Temple Mount. They detected empty chambers and anomalous structures at significant depths. But they can't excavate. Political and religious tensions make any research impossible. So the Ark could literally be right beneath our feet, and we can't reach it. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell, because soon we'll explore other biblical archaeological mysteries that will leave you speechless. But there's an even bigger question we need to answer. Why does the Ark matter so much? It's not just archaeological curiosity. It's not just historical value. If the Ark were found today, it would be the most significant discovery in human history. It would concretely prove the existence of the God of Israel, validate millennia of Jewish and Christian faith, change the entire world's religious and political balance. That's why governments protect information about it, why archaeologists dedicate entire lives to the search, why secret organizations supposedly guard clues. But there's something deeper here. The Ark represented the literal presence of God among humans, a place where heaven and earth touched. And maybe the fact that it's hidden is intentional. Because in the New Testament, something changed completely. Jesus declared that his body was the new temple, that God's presence would no longer dwell in objects or buildings, but in people, in hearts that would receive him. The letter to the Hebrews makes it clear. Jesus is the perfect high priest who entered the true heavenly Holy of Holies with his own blood, once and for all. The physical Ark is no longer necessary, because now God's presence is available directly to anyone, anywhere. The Ark of the Covenant remains one of history's greatest mysteries. It might be hidden beneath Jerusalem. It might be in Ethiopia. It might be somewhere nobody ever imagined. But one thing is certain: the God who dwelt above it is still alive, still real, and still reachable. The difference is that now you don't need a sacred object, don't need a physical temple, don't need complex rituals. You can have a real encounter with him today, wherever you are. If this video touched your heart in any way, maybe it's an invitation for you to know this God personally, not through archaeological mysteries, but through a real and transformative relationship. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and see you in the next biblical mystery. The journey is just beginning.